My name is Reverend Dr. Jack Sullivan Jr., and I am the Executive Director of the Ohio Council of Churches, a 101-year-old nonprofit statewide that brings together 17 Ohio denominations as a visible sign of the unity of Christ Church. However, many years before I assumed my current position, I was given a title that I did not want, one that I would not wish on anyone. And that title was Brother of a Murder Victim. In 1997, my baby sister Jennifer was shot to death in her Cleveland home with her 2-year-old daughter in the house. Jennifer was 21 years of age. Her life was snatched away just as she was gaining control of her future. Despite police efforts to identify Jennifer's killer, the case was not and remains unsolved. The pain of losing a loved one to any cause is beyond painful. To lose a sibling to murder, the intentional, preventable act of another, is unspeakably horrible. My family and I were left feeling shattered, vulnerable, hurt, and angry. Although 23 years have passed since Jennifer's murder, a song or a photograph can cause any one or all of these feelings to take up residence within our very being. Yet also within our being is the unwavering and unflinching refusal to allow our pain and anger to hold us hostage and make us think that we have no alternatives but to support and subscribe to systems of revenge, retaliation, and retribution. Of course, the death penalty is a clear and present example of such systems. With tear-stained eyes and hearts emboldened by the very love of God, our family stands with scores of families who have known catastrophic, intentional, preventable loss at the hands of other human beings, in calling for the state of Ohio to disassociate and dislodge itself from the grisly and immoral practice of killing convicted persons as a supposed way of saying that killing is wrong. Although the multi-million-dollar execution business is promoted as a vehicle for healing and wholeness for murder victim families, it is abundantly clear that executions do not have the power to deliver either of these much desired outcomes. Reflective of historical and systemic racism and tainted by structural classism, two realities that have at times led to unethical arrests, underfunded representation, and unjust and wrongful convictions of innocent people, even here in Ohio. Executions are hollow instruments of death that offer no closure, no redemption, and no restoration. They just serve as state-sanctioned continuation of the evil patterns of intentional and preventable death that claim the lives of our loved ones, including my sister Jennifer. Murder victim families like my own just want no part of the execution business. Here's our stance: kill no one in our names. Execute no one in our names. Genuine care and support for us would involve redirecting the millions of dollars invested in the death penalty toward victim families who have demonstrated needs that often go unnoticed and therefore unmet. Finally, I speak this morning as a man of Christian faith one who believes in the sacred power of salvation for the soul and the transformation of the body. The Bible gives us illustrations of God's willingness to transform murderers into leaders, the same way God did for Moses, David, and Saul, three murderous persons who went on to become pillars of our faith. Friends, the same God who redirected the lives of these great men of faith is in the world and active in the world today, redeeming and transforming lives, even among the incarcerated, people convicted of terrible and violent crimes. If it were not true, Amazing Grace would not be the #1 hymn of all time. If we affirm this great supernatural ability of God to redirect lives, then we should trust it and invest not in the devices and the chemicals of retribution and death, but in the instruments and the tools of transformation and restoration. For these reasons, I, Jack Sullivan Jr., on behalf of the Ohio Council of Churches, support the passage of Senate Bill 296 this year and without further delay.